It's here. My battery, the little batteries I have to get. AAA's.
Are we all set and ready?
Wait on you.
Quite.
Here, open it.
Oh, wait, okay.
Did you folks get the letter from Gator?
I did.
A letter from Gator?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I think this is one right here, too.
Mhm.
Oh, this is Attention Heritage Commission. Why is that in our box? How would we go to her?
The cat's mother.
That would be from the Gavers.
Oh, it's a nice one. I'm calling. And conservation and
Mr. Zacher is a linguist. And coming up with his wording, I'm very impressed.
Good word.
He's not a linguist.
So I take it that this is Rose's language?
I don't know where he came up with it, but that's unusual.
Well, isn't that a lot of support and love for your wife?
Do you ever watch the hunting, fishing shows out of Maine?
I do.
The game wardens always recreate.
Recreate.
I looked the word up because they used it, and it's a legitimate.
Right, it just sounded.
You know who I did not contact was the young man in Wolfboro about using the,
Ethan?
yeah, Ethan Hickel about the,
Parks and Rec.
I have to call the school.
I can read your mind.
thank you. You know what, the selectmen may wish to read this letter from Mr. Daver. How'd you know it's from him?
Because I got one that was identical to it at my house.
Okay,
I got one as well.
so all the selectmen got one. The whole town got one. Ain't it thrilling?
Oh, that.
Can I borrow a pen?
Are you all ready
About the
now?
townhouse? About the schoolhouse? Yeah, I got one too.
You did.
I did.
I think all the employees
I couldn't believe
got
it.
one along with anyone on a
All the stamps.
committee or a commission.
Are we ready to start?
So,
All right, let's do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, this meeting is hereby started.
Give that to Mary Lord, we get to talk about that.
No, we talked about that one.
That's for sure.
All right. The selectmen took a vote last meeting to support the Brookfield, or the track program between Brookfield, Wakefield, down to the Wolfboro town line. The Selectman Zacher drew up a nice letter, and we all signed it.
So
So that's what that is.
goes to,
Ernie Brown?
Harriet or Ernie.
I just sent it off to Ernie.
I have a column.
Okay. So, let's start on the budget, because that's the main reason we're here. And, where y'all want to start? First page?
No, let's go to the spending first.
Do the spending
So
first?
the only thing I will tell you on the income is that I did put in the 22,000 for the highway block grant. We know the first 2 quarters will be about 5,000 each. So,
that's down from last year then?
yes, it is.
About $6,500.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, Earl, is that a good number? Does that change during the year?
Well, it's a letter from them. The only thing that could change with it is we know the first 2 quarters of the year, but we don't know the last 2 quarters of the year.
And that can go either
And
direction.
that can go up or down. The 20 highway
That
block grant.
is $33.53.
53, highway block grant.
We still haven't gotten any money from Rooms and Meals yet?
Oh,
No, we get that December 30th. Oh, you know what? I have this.
What is this?
I wasn't sure, it's on school stuff, I think. I wasn't sure what.
Educational tax warrant for the year 2013. $2.43.50 per thousand. And Brookfield's share of that, we got that in August. Yeah, $250,236. Based on $2.43.50 per thousand value. Our cost to,
So that doesn't make any sense though, because we paid them a lot more than that.
I believe this is the state warrant, the state tax.
Oh, the state
state
portion of it.
education.
yeah, state education,
Got it.
which is embroidered in our state taxation portion of the, whatever it is. That just needs to be filed with the book in the annual book that we do for budgeting and taxes. All right, anything else we want to talk about on the revenue side before we go straight into the expenditures?
I do have backup papers for many of the line items.
We haven't had any land use change tax this year?
No.
Wow, that bit is.
Help me, how are we doing this?
So, huh?
How are we gonna do this? You're gonna read an item?
I'm just
Or are we
walking-
gonna just, I mean,
Well, I'm just looking through the revenue. We'll go line by line under expenses. I'm just kind of looking at revenues,
when do we do revenues?
usually at the end of it.
Okay.
Just trying to get an idea of where we, so I'm gonna put that to the back. So starting on page 3, under expenses, general government.
I did it landscape for the budget meetings so that you could make notes if you want.
Thank you. The board's administrative assistant salary still says secretary. So our proposed is going to be $33.50 for that, $3,350.
That's what Jessica submitted.
That's for additional hours, I'm assuming, or?
I'm gonna have to look at it. What did I write? I'd have to look at the
Would you
thing.
give yourself a big pay raise, or?
No, Mary Lou said you have to put a little bit more than what we actually made.
Well, because the budget for 2012 was 2916.
And we're already at
and we're already
3291.
Right. So that's why
No,
I
that's fine,
put it up a little bit.
So we overspent that budget.
because of hours.
That's what I got.
Mary Lou, do you expect us on each line item to put the number in? For example, the first one was salaries, it's blank.
Well,
Right.
that's normal every year, 15,000.
Are you waiting for us to give you a number for each blank?
Yes,
Okay.
or to come up with a composite number between the three of you.
Okay.
Say, we think it'll be this. And then it typically goes line by line, and then we just see what the total is and compare it for each group. Like the first one will be executive, and then at the end, we see what the bottom number is. Can we live with it, can we not? So this is the first round of where we just kind of fill in the numbers.
Okay. Administrative assistant, this doesn't give me how many hours that you're projecting that we're working. So is this based on your
You know
current?
what? It's based on my current right now.
Current hours?
Yep, so
The
I
way we have you
counted
set it up?
everything, my time
Okay.
sheet for every month is what we counted. And then, of course, you got minutes, you never know how long a meeting's gonna go.
Yeah, you get long-winded people.
So, I mean, that's what it is now, that's why I was like,
Okay. So that's all right.
Believe me,
I don't
make it
have.
up.
I'm just trying to understand because
yeah,
there's no hours based. How many hours
yeah.
this is based on. So
So why don't you tell us how many hours it is a week or whatever? About
I
administrative
don't know,
assistant?
I'd have to really look at
Right.
the,
I'll help you.
well, it's 4 hours for the
Okay,
time.
yep.
And.
You're in the office
There.
4 hours on, you do the meetings, I'm gonna help you now. You're gonna do the meetings every
what's her
other week?
hourly salary? Hourly rate?
$13.50.
$13.50.
Okay,
Yeah, meetings can go from,
yep. And then you try to charge your office hours to this, so which day is that?
Friday, every other Friday.
And-
First, third, and fifth.
So that's based on 248.14815 hours.
And that goes, yeah, it's a whole year.
Huh?
And this,
That can't be right.
and this actual, we still have 2 months to go, right?
Yes.
Well, 1.5 months.
Yes. Actually, 2 full months. November but December will be paid. December will be paid in December, so there are 2 full months left to go. Because Jessica submits her time at the end of the month on a monthly basis.
So the 3291 is going to probably be
Closer to
3,400 or something?
35, 36.
Could be.
Well, if we keep the meeting shorter and talk faster.
Meeting adjourned.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just like anything else, it's the minutes and the,
Right.
meeting is
So what's the number
unpredictable.
that's going in
So
there?
should it go a little bit higher?
Sounds like it should.
Sounds like it should, huh?
So we'll go for 3,500.
35?
Sure.
Board expenses.
We may have to adjust that. So go with the
2,500.
2,500 again.
Office and computer supplies and equipment. We did $1,980 worth this year?
We're sitting on them.
You're sitting on some of them.
Yeah, okay. So $2,000 still?
Yes. Rich?
Yep.
Public notices. Wow, we went way up.
And these are just yours. They're not, I mean,
What did we have that were so many public notices?
some were the,
We paid for the tax collector and the
we
town
had
clerk advertisement for their
advertising.
positions.
Yep.
That should have come out of their budgets.
Yeah.
You're the hiring agent.
Okay.
We don't hire
Supposed to come out of
Virginia.
their budgets.
No, you don't.
We hired Virginia's deputy.
Assistant, deputy.
So 599.
You want
We
to
have
take it,
a-
you could probably take it back to the 300.
I think so. What's coming up next year, right?
Town meeting expenses, that's about $2,000. Town contracts IT, same.
Yep.
Preambulation of lines, $900. That's what we still owe him if he ever finishes.
We discussed with terminating that contract at the end of December if he doesn't finish it.
Right.
Does that mean we have to put in more money to do the job over again?
If we terminate the contract, we'll have to hire somebody else to do it.
So there's a number, right?
Well, actually, we paid,
We paid half.
we've already paid half for what has been completed.
Did we get anything?
I have not heard back from him yet.
No. Do we get anything for the first?
Yes,
First half.
yes.
We got some.
We have documentation from the first portion.
So
Or actually for almost all of it, except for that last line.
So we could continue that with the new contractor and just have that remaining part done. I mean, if we decide to go somewhere else,
Yeah.
can we build on what we've had delivered?
I
That's
don't
my
know,
question.
I don't know what the legal, how those guys work that.
So we have to rebudget the entire amount then? 'Cause it's
I
been-
wouldn't rebudget the entire amount. I think that he'll have it done.
The last you reported by the end of November.
Yeah. And
At the
there's
20th.
10 days left.
So what's the number?
$1? No, we don't spend.
I would put $1 in there just to keep the line open for now.
Yeah.
You put 900. No, I put 900. So I would put
Or
$1.
you want to put 500 or something, but it
No.
all depends on what somebody did, whether they start all over and say, I don't trust his numbers, or,
That's right. And that's the unknown. So it could be back to 2,000. Or it could be as 900.
All right, but for now, let's just put $1 in there
Yep.
because we may be able to take that out. I will shoot him off another email tonight when I get back home, telling him that we're getting anxious.
I'm sorry?
The computer's not working? Yeah, so I will push that then. All right,
I don't have a budget from Virginia.
so right now we give her a default budget of what she had for last year.
Okay.
deputy town clerk.
So
We had training
that
and all
would be that would be the other question. She still has her working, like right now, she worked all day yesterday and today. So I'm not sure how long she will continue, the deputy will continue to work. Every week, I think she's working.
Well, yeah, because I was gonna say she's over budget for that.
Yep.
Why don't we leave that blank and get some input from Virginia?
I put a default budget. We gave them till today to get it done.
All right.
Otherwise, we were gonna use a default budget,
1,200.
and she's gonna have to live within that default budget.
Okay. 12?
Yes. Supervisors of the checklist you have. Now, Bill,
Expenses, wait a minute, we haven't done expenses yet.
pardon me?
For who?
So-
I assume that's for Virginia.
Whatever this is,
Right, we're gonna go with them.
that's what she gets. That's what a default budget is. It's your last year's budget.
So the supervisors of the checklist wrote a letter to the selectmen. Here, quick.
Wow, look at that mileage. Oh, that's for workshops, probably down to Concord or something.
Supervisors of the checklist request that you consider granting an increase in hourly pay to the supervisors beginning in 2013. We are currently earning $7.25 an hour. We would ask an increase to $9 an hour. Wow.
So,
You chose several years ago to increase all miscellaneous pay to $7.25. However, it seems that because of the longevity of each of us in the office of supervisor, a pay increase is justified. We have spent many hours working and training in the state of New Hampshire. We have to understand state election law and act accordingly in order to make our elections fair and honest. Unlike ballot clerks, who serve at the request of the moderator, have limited training and only have responsibility at elections, the supervisors are elected officials and work all year in order to keep the voter records and checklist current at all times.
So the only, and then she gave me the budget, which you see, the only comments I wrote were on the back page. So it wasn't like they got the raise to $7.25. That's when minimum wage went up. And $7.25 is the current minimum wage. We are the only state in New England that still pays minimum wage. Maine, Massachusetts, and Vermont.
Now, does this new budget have that salary increase?
I'm assuming it does.
What are the numbers there? What's this?
Well, we also, and I'm not saying we shouldn't up it, I'm not saying that, but we were the
Oh, but they had
first town who went to the federal rate per hour like
In
6 months,
2009.
like 6 months or so before it was even required. We upped them to that rate.
So
Yeah.
the $7.25 is the federal rate, and it went into effect in 2009, I think that's what my
So the
notes say.
salaries include their salary, and I'm confused on salary.
Just this, it's
Just
only
this-
the checklist, the
The
supervisor of
three
the
ladies
checklist.
that are the supervisors of the checklist.
Okay.
So many hours is that a year?
It all depends on how many elections we have a year.
Yeah.
So like they're saying the supervisors only have 2 elections this year, the school deliberative session in town. Budget includes any state required post-election activity, estimated training expenses and general housekeeping. There are no supervisors positions up in for election in March.
Those are my notes on when it went into
Now,
effect.
these people are elected at town meeting, right?
Aren't they on the,
The Board of Selectmen don't appoint them, right?
no, they don't.
Okay. So then, the Board of Selectmen cannot raise their salary, the town has to raise their salary.
But we did,
Post-
we just raised it, didn't we, at the, when they went up to the minimum wage?
That was 2009.
But we didn't put it up to the voters, did we?
We didn't put it up to the voters? Interesting. Everybody else, like Virginia and Diane
And me.
and
The
you,
three of us,
they all had to be, we all did them through a town vote.
town warrant.
Yep.
Yeah, what
Because
did you
they're
do
elected
about
officials.
Jessica,
Jessica's not an elected official, she's a hired.
Appointed.
that's true.
No, she's hired.
Hired.
Plus, I never got a raise. I'm just kidding.
I didn't get town report.
I wish it wouldn't be.
They're elected. So it says, well, this does say, oh, so Adeline must have been elected this year. 2014 is Cheryl Perry and Carol Leary is 2016.
So they make $7 an hour. About it.
$7.25.
So that's 7 into 1,400 is what they spend. So they said they
Yeah,
work.
but I have a big bill from Adeline. And they do, she indicated to me in an email, they have more work to do in December and we'll have another bill to submit before the end of the year.
So they're gonna wipe their budget out too. Yeah, because this was a major election year, so there were the primaries, the election, town meeting. I have no problem as long as the town wants to give it to them. Trying to think.
This was-
But I do recall that we did raise the rate for all election officials and ballot clerks to 7.25, preemptive to the federal mandate of the raise. So we would be in compliance early.
Right.
But I think because this is above and beyond,
Page 3.
it should be town, it should be in their elected officials, it actually should be before the town, not us.
Great. Well, we should put in what it's proposed as and then do it as a warrant. They'll put their number in there.
And if the town doesn't vote for it, then we would have to, I think one of the questions we have to ask Adeline is, does her budget actually include that increase? And if it does, then we need a secondary budget without it if the townspeople were not to support it.
How about we just put the budget in it like it was last year, and then put a warrant article in to raise it like we did with the treasurer?
No, because they don't have
They don't
enough,
have,
as many elections. This year they had
Right.
like 4 elections, and next year they only have 2. So,
Talking
they're-
about changing the rate.
yeah, but I don't know how many hours that entails. That 750 that she has there, I don't know how many hours that actually entails versus where last year there was a proposed of 2,500 hours.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
There's two independent events. The rate, which we require a warrant for,
Right.
so we put that on the warrant, and we pick a number here. After the elections, we can pick any number we want, 25, 2,000,
she has the 750,
750, is that what she asked for?
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what they're banking on
And I'm
for.
assuming they're assuming they're at the $9.
I would assume so.
That's why I said we need to ask her to resubmit it with the current rate, and then
Why-
we would put, to make it right.
We can put any number in here we want, so we put a number in assuming the town's gonna authorize
If they're an
it.
elected official, the town has to vote on their salary.
What I said was, we put any number in here we want, so we put a number in here assuming that it's passed. It's
Okay.
gonna be a higher number.
No, it'd be that, I think it would be that number right
Okay,
there.
then it's that number, then we go to the town and ask them, as independent of that, what they wanna do.
And if they don't, then we have to lower that by the difference.
Why do we have to lower it? It's a budget, it's a planning number. I don't understand.
Well, the budget numbers can, the number could stay the same, but there would be an overreach at that point because they'd get paid less per hour.
Yes, yes.
So leave it at the 750. But I would still like to know how many hours that entails,
Sure.
and if that actually included the increase or not. Because if it doesn't include the increase at the town meeting, then we will have to amend that line and the total bottom line of expenditures to reflect that.
Then we'll have a tilt. I agree with that.
So who's responsible for putting the warrant article
We'll have to do it.
The select board does.
The selectmen do.
Let's get the mileage, $1.
But they're asking to go to 200?
There may be things, meetings and stuff they know.
I think there's some training there's something for the state that they're looking to do, whatever I just did with that. Can I give it back to you? Yeah.
Yes.
So
So the next one, 4142 for elections,
Uh-huh.
I didn't have it, but I do now, so I can tell you those numbers. That
Okay.
Dr. Marsh wanted. Salaries for the moderator and election officials is $225. Expenses, $1. Mileage, $1. Public notices, $1. And dues and workshops, $20.
For a grand total.
I got a
248.
question. I got a question, guys.
Okay.
How many elections next year? Just one?
2.
How much do we pay to ballot clerks?
The $725.
I understand, but how many hours do they get? Some of the checks that I've seen go through quickly get us to 225.
Well,
You won't need as many.
You're going to
and
have,
if it's a state election, they're not open as long.
I understand.
They're not open the 14 hours that some of them have to work.
Seven into 225 is 30 hours total. 30 hours total.
I could ask him for a,
We can go with this number, but I don't see how we can do that. 30 staff hours.
Well, he requested $900 for last year, and he only overspent it by 82. Wow, everybody's overspending their budgets. only overspent it by $82, so he was pretty close on his estimate for that.
He gives me the hours, but he may not actually know how much the whole election is costing. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I
So do you wanna go to like 300, just to have a cushion, or?
I just question, I think he can predict the hours.
Sure, so what I'll do is
many-
check with
How
him.
many staff hours?
Yeah,
Because that's only 30 staff hours. 1, 2, 3. 4.
But how did we come up, oh,
No, but there's,
he doesn't get paid. He and Bob Russo donate their time. So it's just whoever is working.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, you're only looking at 3
Three.
people.
3 people, 5 hours is 15. That's one election, 5 hours. And then another
The
election.
state ones are 1, 2, 6, so yeah, 5 hours,
So it's,
I think.
So
it's a good number. Leave it there,
you're looking at 30 hours.
30 hours.
So I'll still email him and just make sure that he's okay with it, if that's okay.
It's not gonna be a big change anyway, if it
No.
changes it.
so that number on the bottom, actual, is 17,000, that includes what lines? Up here,
It includes
1440 down?
the
Supervisors of the checklist.
election. Oh, let me look.
Election registration event, that's the town clerk, supervisors of the checklist, and the elections people.
Right,
Okay, and the subtotal is for that whole,
Group.
that's up here.
yep. And the actual subtotal is 17,906.
You have 17,438, do we change that?
Yeah, because I added
No,
stuff.
no, that's from last year's actuals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You wanna come over here where it says 1,500. That's the bottom line right there. So you wanna go right here and write the new number in.
17,906. And I'll give you a new one of these at the next board meeting.
All right, financial administration, treasurer, 5,000. Expenses,
My expenses were up, and I know next year I'll have to buy a box of checks as well as the normal postage and stuff like that.
software,
Software, I did not, you'll see, I only spent $326. I will need to buy a new version of QuickBooks because they will not be supporting the version I have next year. So
what did we
left it-
spend the 326 on?
Payroll update.
Oh, okay.
Yours,
Yeah, I got it. Dues and workshops, 275, for a total budget of 6,350.
yeah.
Okay, tax collector. She's running about true to what she was gonna do last year. Assessor clerk. Wow, that stayed the same as last year's budget.
So Jessica had
I'm not sure.
for the software for herself. Oh, so there could be one difference in the tax collector budget. When you
Yes.
called Avatar,
Yeah.
you said it was $13.19 for both of you, for
No.
each of you.
Yeah, hers was a little more money, I believe. The tax
Yeah.
collect system was a little bit different than the tax,
Yeah,
Yeah.
than
that's
the
usually-
tax assessing system.
And that's
But I
usually
don't think it was the
1550.
1550. I thought it was lower.
No, it was still 13 something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see if I have it.
It's on my, it's on
Yep.
my sheet, okay.
Yep.
I was glad she said that. 'Cause- Software. Oh, yeah, hers would be lower.
Tell me that ain't a money-making scheme, software. Write it once and collect over and over and
So
over.
you have on this
We need it.
one, Jessica, you
Yeah.
just have the Avatar software of 1319. So that's probably yours.
Yes, that's hers.
Yeah, that's mine, but I sent you an email with both though, right? I wonder if it was on the email. I can look it up. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go see if I can find it.
Do we have a budget from the trustees of the trust funds yet?
Yes. So we could fill that in while Jessica's looking for the other. So they have it's basically the same, 450 for the salary, 50 for expenses and dues, and then dues and workshops, I gotta fix that, is 100.
So 600 total,
Yeah.
again. And they haven't put in for any of it yet?
They have not. I wrote Tom an email. We talked about it a month or so ago, and I said, you need to submit it. And he said, well, I'll just tell you. And I said, no, you need to submit it in the selectmen's box. So he said he would.
$13.70 for the tax collect system.
Cool. Thank you.
So we change hers down. That changes that number to,
Because that's next year's prices?
17,522.
1370, yeah.
What was the final figure?
17,522.
522.
Okay. That's good.
Auditing's the same, 325 for expenses.
We go back to the assessor clerk? Did we finish that?
Yep,
We did?
yep, 14,609. MS5 600, so that'll stay the same at 925. What's the new number for the total financial administration?
$40,006. Now, I will hasten to add that this was the spreadsheet that I had to change from adding up to adding down. So I will verify that all the totals are correct when I get home.
Okay.
And let you know if they're not.
Okay.
Legal expenses.
Could you email this to us when you're done?
Yes, sure.
Thank you.
Well, not till I get home.
Yeah, and you checked them.
And I check them. Okay, could it be tomorrow night?
Sure, anytime.
Okay, thanks.
Then we should leave the legal. The legal
Somebody
system.
who cares? Do it, go.
I don't know if that phone works in there. Check to see if that phone works.
Okay.
There was an issue with
Take
that.
5.
About that.
Are any of you guys braving out on, oh, we're still being recorded,
Yeah.
so. On Thursday night for Black Friday events?
We're gonna see it?
Oh, I already have
I'm
my
not
list.
doing that. I'm not
I
doing
already
You
that.
guys
have
are
my
all
list.
smart to
I'm
stay
not
home.
doing that.
That's
Uh-uh.
crazy.
I got my list.
Rose said to me, Best Buy starts at 1 o'clock. She says, if I'm up at 11, we might go. She knows I'll be in bed by 9.
Well, Walmart has moved all theirs.
Till
The
early.
first one is 8 o'clock in the evening
Yeah.
on Thursday. The second, but,
It's at 10. I know,
It is at
believe me, I
10.
got my list.
and then if
I
you
know
want,
exactly what
then if you want the rest of it, it's all at 5 a.m.
I
And
did
there's
one
a
of
lot
those.
of good stuff going on at 5 a.m.
I remember going, that's about 5 years ago, to the 5 a.m. one, getting in there to buy a TV, a small color TV or something. And we bought it. Once you know, 2 weeks later, it was the same price again.
That's what they said in the news tonight. Watch it.
They probably had too many left or something. And they, do they price match for food items?
Yeah.
I thought of that when I was in there today. I said, you know, I should have seen what the other stores had. And maybe
They price match both Hannaford's, Market Basket, Shaw's.
I'm sure.
They'll price match any of them.
Okay, well, I thought about that today.
I got a nice turkey.
I was there today too.
All right, so legal expenses.
commercial.
Oh, are we back in session?
Yes, my program will be taken.
Oh,
What program was this?
Whatever. 8 o'clock, channel
What program
6.
is this?
NCIS.
Oh, that one.
Oh, I can
And
understand.
it's part 2.
that's so funny.
All right, so
Are you focusing here, Mary Lou? Are you drifting?
NCIS.
I am, that's why it didn't hit me till.
All right.
Okay.
So we're gonna leave the legal expenses at $4,000 apiece.
Really?
Really?
He said something about leaving them alone, so that's what I'm asking.
We just signed 2 invoices, or approved 2 invoices for another $2,500 for the selectmen tonight.
So let's go 5,000.
No, well, the fact is that we have some that didn't use the money. We always try to average it out.
Is that what we do?
Yeah.
That's
Then
what we've done in the
then that's
past.
fine. That's fine.
So we're gonna leave them at 4. We're gonna take them back up to 5. Originally, we all had them at 5. We had $15,000 in legal expenses. Last year, we cut it to 12.
As long as
And
we
I
have-
think we have a long fight on. This is not going to be a cheap battle
That-
between Fairpoint. So
That's-
I would say taking them back up to 5 each gives us just an extra cushion of $3,000 that we may need.
That's where I was coming from.
Not to mention the other issue that's before us that's going to court.
Unless-
Why do you have to increase the zoning if,
It's an average.
oh, is that how it works?
Yeah. So if the selectmen need to use $7,000, it's there. And if the planning board or the zoning board needs to use it, it's there. It's an average. It was set up so that originally we had a legal, just one line for legal, $15,000. Actually, it was less than that, way less than that. But somebody came before the town and thought that they were going to bully the town because the town's legal budget was minimal. So we said no, and we raised the budget up so that we would always have enough in the budget to go to court and to do whatever needed to do to protect the town's interests. Okay,
We're going up to 5. Are
revaluation,
we going to 5? Or are we
Yes.
staying?
5 each.
I took it to 5, yeah.
Okay.
Revaluation of property, don't we have that coming down? Not this year, right?
Not this year. But we probably should put $1 in.
$1.
So the next one is personnel administration, and the ICA, this is the employer's portion of the
Social Security.
Medicare and Social Security. And so I've had it at 5,000 and we're not maxing out, so I would keep it at that.
Sounds good.
Was the new Obamacare and all that goes with it, is that going to affect this number at all?
I don't think so for next year,
Year.
because most of it doesn't go into effect until 2014.
14.
And what I put in for the workers' compensation insurance is the quote that we got from Primex.
Okay.
But I will contact LGC and see what information they need to give us a quote.
Okay. So that leaves those two at 7,054.
Yes.
And we haven't heard from the planning board yet. So at this point, I would say give them a default budget. Now, I understand that they're going to tackle that at their next meeting. And at that point, they can come back and sell us on their new budget.
I guess it's time for a question on when departments overrun budgets. Do we have a policy? What do we do?
Okay, well, they've overspent their salary for their board secretary, but they're still under budget by $921 for the year.
And we got 2 months to go. So I'm just asking general policy, do we do anything when budgets start to drift? I don't know.
We can't have a budget for each department and that department go over their budget every time because it's gonna throw the total town's budget over. So they'll have to do something to adjust that, whether it's not have the, in this case, the planning board administrative assistant or take notes for the last month or not. They might have to give him a month's vacation, unpaid vacation to get to stay within their budgets.
What's it cost for you to do your secretary for the selectmen?
It all depends on how long the meetings are and everything, but in general.
What did you budget for the selectmen meetings?
That was the 3,000 that you took to 3,500.
It was 30, we put it to 3,500.
Does
He doesn't make the same salary.
Right.
But he does work a lot more hours and the planning board meetings are longer,
Yeah.
I would say, overall.
But the selectmen have 2 meetings a month and the planning board has 1.
But he also holds, I think he's holding office hours
No, that was
prior to, he holds them prior to the meeting.
Okay.
So he has to come in, I think he comes in 2 or 3 hours prior to a meeting and has open.
Why would he have office hours?
So that anybody who's bringing anything before the planning board that evening has access to it. It's the way it's always been done.
He told me he has office hours on Thursdays, but that was suspended a while ago.
Right.
Yeah.
He was holding office
Okay.
hours as.
In addition to the.
Yes,
Oh.
and that was so that there was somebody here for the planning board every week.
Yeah.
That if somebody was bringing something before the planning board, and I believe that was suspended by the planning board due to funding and budgeting.
Right.
Mary Lou, could you quickly, do you know what his rate is? You don't have to say it publicly.
It's public information.
All right, could you divide the rate into that to see how many hours we're getting? This is through November.
Sure.
No, through October you're talking about.
Through October.
Actually, part of his did go through November.
Okay.
Because, he's at 14 an hour. So, what's his magic number?
Why does he get 14 and Jessica, what do you think?
Because the planning board voted to give him 14.
Yeah.
Well,
386 hours?
386 hours. Divided by 10 months is about 38 hours a month.
You know what, and that's about what he works. He works an average of 30.
he is here that much.
38 hours a month for one meeting. He does an excellent job. I guess we have to talk to the chairman about it.
He has a lot of because of the retyping of procedures and policies and zoning and rules and procedures. I mean, I'm not defending him, but I'm just saying, he does put a lot of time in to keep the books and everything accurate and up to speed. Plus, he has to do everything for any site plan reviews that come in, and I believe we were doing 2 meetings a month at the beginning of the year.
Yes, we just redid the site plan review completely. We went through the certifications and stuff like that.
So that's all done? You know, his big projects, are they done, or their committee's whole thing, or are they still ongoing?
There's still stuff ongoing.
Because they're starting the CIP and just really in the beginning stages of it.
Well,
What I try to do is I say, okay, 38 hours a month there, and if you sum up all of Jessica's hours, I don't think we get there.
You don't.
So that job has taken more time than our assessor clerk, the meeting minutes here, the CEO.
Oh, no.
No, not than all of her jobs.
Not of all of her jobs. All of her jobs is almost 500, 600 hours.
We could sum them up.
Yeah, you have.
You're looking at a budget of over $9,000 for her for all three of the positions she
Yes.
holds.
Yes.
Okay, so it's half that.
Well, not really, because he hasn't finished the year.
Neither has she.
You-
They're
oh,
both.
Okay, you're 9 at this point.
No, she's
No, I think
budgeted
it-
for 9 for the whole year
Yeah.
next year.
Okay, and
Yeah.
let's say when he ends up this year at, say, at
He'll
end
be
of the
about
year,
6.
6,500?
Could be about 6. Pretty sure he'll be close to 6 by the end of the year.
And they'll probably put in, I don't know. And so the committee can make any salary they wanted. So if they wanted to give Jessica $25 an hour, they're all set because they don't set the pay rate,
I have to go over my budget.
right? If they wanted to be nice and give, a subcommittee wanted to pay Jessica $50 an hour,
If they've got a budget and they submit it and we approve it, yes.
we approve it as the,
That's the key.
okay, but the rate they pay, they get to,
What they do is they submit the budget. They submitted a budget of $5,040 for him.
but next year they want to give him $50 an hour. And they put it in their budget. They get to set the salary?
They can if we don't question it, yes.
Well, I agree they can, but who's the final say in what salary that person has?
Hi, Len.
Good evening, everybody.
Hello.
Did you get my message?
Yes,
Okay.
that's why I'm here.
They've always set their own rates. The ZBA set their own rate for their secretary. The planning board has set their own rate.
Or has the selectmen accepted what they're doing? In other words, what's stopping a committee, the ZBA, hiring somebody and paying them $100 an hour and say, here it is?
Absolutely nothing. Unless the selectmen question it and put it before the people. We draw it out and say, why are you doing this? This is unacceptable pay rate.
Who has the final say?
Select board,
Okay. So we're back to that again.
because we're ultimately doing the budget.
All right, so what they're doing is recommending a salary,
Yep,
and it's the selectmen that accept that salary or not, if it's way out of whack.
yep.
Okay.
That's because the selectmen ultimately approve the budget. And then actually, the ultimate finalized
Of the
is the
payroll.
townspeople
Right.
at town meeting, because that line, each line item is open to scrutiny by the people on that last warrant.
Okay.
They go line item by line item and pick it through. And we've had a few residents in the town who've tried.
Okay.
So we leave it like last year's?
Yep. I haven't seen since we haven't had a budget from them.
That's what we said, right.
Okay, and the ZBA is basically the same as last year's. All right. General government buildings. Have we gotten anything from our cleaning person?
No,
So we'll leave that the same.
I would assume so.
Expenses, that overspent, $93. So that's for cleaning supplies and things like that.
Yeah,
So do we want to take that to 300?
Yes.
we could, because I know that I need to buy new tablecloths before next August. The ones that are there, were there.
Tablecloths for what?
Tables. The red and white checked ones.
So it should come out of the Heritage's budget.
Did you get the link? So I know I have to buy new ones. they were moldy and I couldn't even clean them with bleach, and so they got tossed.
Okay.
So 7 new ones.
Okay. Repairs to building and grounds?
So I would like to offer no, it wouldn't be under here. It would be later. That some of the recommendations from the site review were that we should start setting up a few reserve funds.
For what?
The townhouse there?
We have reserve funds to do the town buildings.
We do, and the question would be whether they will be enough at the time we need them. So roofing within 10 years, painting, and yada-da-da-da.
So instead of setting up new ones, we just put more
More
funds
money.
into the existing ones.
Do we have?
And that's fine, it's at the end of the budget, but
And that was my question. How does this work with those other funds you just talked about? This is different from those other funds?
Yes.
This is repairs to all buildings and grounds.
Yep.
So we had a catastrophe of some sort, or whatever, we could go buy a new hot water tank, new oil burner, that type of stuff.
Okay. Included in that would be if we elected to do maintenance on the buildings next
Yep.
door?
paint,
Yep.
Okay.
And
because we probably will have to.
And if we don't have enough funds here, we have the expendable trust funds, which we were just briefly talking about in order to draw on.
That we fund?
That's right.
Okay.
So the ones that were mentioned for a maintenance reserve was roofing in the next 10 years, exterior paint, and those are probably the only two at this point that I.
We're already done with you.
I bet you are.
You can go home now.
No, we're not. We're not there yet.
Okay.
Well, we also, at some point, this inside has to be painted.
Yes. So maybe we could get a quote on what painting we would do for next year. The whole thing. You need all 10 pages.
You're talking about, you're talking about this $15,000 for next year. In other words, if we don't spend it this year, we reallocate 15 next year. Is that what you're suggesting?
I think that would be part of my recommendation, yeah. To cover some painting, and if we need to paint in here, if we need to paint, there are areas of the townhouse that should probably be painted.
And we still have that leak we have to deal with.
Yes.
Well, we could take some of the, if that's fixed.
If we do
we'll
it
come out
this
of
year.
here.
If we do it this year, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it, I guess, Tuesday.
Yeah, okay. So leave it at 15?
We got some water damage coming in over here. You see it?
No, you were saying that Tuesday, and I was like,
Selectmen's meeting. You want to do it tonight?
Damage, we could.
so, how did we notice this one?
We walked around the building. You
No,
see
no,
it.
no, how did we notice this meeting?
Oh, this is Selectmen's meeting.
So we noticed it as a regular meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, then we can make those kind of decisions tonight. So back to 210 here, the repairs to building and grounds, I would recommend that we leave it at 15,000. And the line underneath that, which is building and ground maintenance, which is different than repairs, leave that at 8,000. And then we have our shoveling, snow blowing, and mowing, and opening and closing the building at 1,200. Fuel, are we gonna make it through December on
We
that
prepaid,
number?
didn't we?
We prepaid, yeah.
We are good through next summer. We just have to allocate for next year again.
And that includes this 10, that's all included in that 1040?
Yes.
10,480. All right, so we'll leave that at 11,000. Telephone went up $6. Oh my goodness.
We may want to bump that up to 13.
All right, take
Let me
that.
think, no, it's about $70 a month, 75, so let's take it up to $13.50 or so.
1350. What they do, raise their rates on us?
Could have.
Because I don't remember it being that high all the time.
It's about $75 a month.
What's the difference between building maintenance and repairs to building and grounds?
Repairs are just that, they're repairs.
Okay.
There's something that breaks and has to be replaced, or damaged and has to be fixed. Maintenance is general upkeep, light bulbs.
So the painting would go into that?
Yeah.
Okay, so if there was painting, it would go into that one.
Yep.
And what would break in the building, oil burner wouldn't be,
Yep,
That would be repairs.
yep.
okay.
Help me understand again. If we don't spend the money this year, where does it go?
And our unreserved funds
In our unreserved fund, which is that percentage?
that you get to utilize to help buy down next year's taxes.
Okay.
But it doesn't really hurt the taxpayer because we use it to buy down the taxes. What's not spent.
Yeah, I
Just going to that.
just want to make sure, I didn't understand how you account for it. It's not like, it's going to be in our checkbook at the end of the year,
Yes,
because we took taxes in and didn't spend it,
Right.
so that we carry that in the checkbook
yes.
until the end of next year.
And eventually, what happens is if you do it year after year and year after year that you come in, and depending on how much you end up buying down, that unreserved fund builds up, you have more in your checking account every year, that eventually you should have a surplus in your checking account that's comfortable enough that we should be able to handle any disaster.
Understand?
It would be nice to build reserves.
We try.
We do.
Town-owned property, I'd leave that at $1.
Yes.
Internet, 1,500 to 1,556. What is the internet for?
The internet is what you pay to Virtual Town, the 1,500
Oh, that's
to
right.
Virtual
I
Town.
forget about them now. Okay, so it's
That's what
50.
I'm here.
How come it went 56? Is that
Because we were
Mail
setting
server?
up all of the mail boxes, and I
email?
would think email boxes, I would think we're pretty set up at this point.
Yep.
So I didn't think we'd have any others we'd need to add.
So we
Now-
don't have to pay them an annual fee for that?
No.
How about,
it's just a
now does
call.
Rose get any reimbursement for the
Oh, all her time and dedication.
I'll still do.
stone? Okay, thank you.
It's that volunteerism
Should
at
we,
work.
should we put that down and put $1 so people know? It's up to you, Rose. No.
Take the $1, Rose.
Okay.
All right, town cemetery.
They asked for $100 for the cleanup of the town cemetery.
Why did we put 1,400 in
The
there?
trees had to come down?
Because the tree,
Oh, that tree. And
but
the-
we did it in the prior year.
And the iron gates.
And the iron gates. And the gates and the maintenance and the sign are what make up the 234.
So it came in way under budget.
Yes.
So take it back down to 100.
So do we need to put anything in this line item to purchase property for a,
That's got to be a warrant article.
yeah,
No, that goes actually into one of the trust
trust
funds.
funds? Okay.
But do we, is it a expendable trust?
No, it's a capital reserve fund.
So if they came across
It
something,
has to be voted on.
so I almost think we need to change that to a, in case they come across something and we gotta buy it or they wanna buy it.
You'd have to have a town meeting, wouldn't you?
Yep.
But if it was expendable, would you? Well, you're buying something, I don't know. Because they may have to wait a whole year. They have somebody's piece of property ready to go.
That's why we're trying to do it now for March, but if we can change the definition or the characteristics of the fund,
You start a new one through a warrant, can't you? Put money aside into an expendable trust.
Sure.
so the selectmen have a say in it. I'm sorry, what you're saying?
No, I was making a comment to Mr. Nason about starting a new trust fund. I said, sure, more money.
We'll just take it out of his budget.
There you go. Take everything else out, right?
Well, picking up on your point, Bill, how do we move forward with that? Do we have to say we're gonna put a new article in?
Yeah, if we're gonna start a new trust fund, like a capital reserve fund, or an expendable trust, it has to go through warrant.
How do we get access to the money that's been allocated so far
We'll just change it with the vote.
at the town meeting?
Cemetery Trust Fund, it is a capital reserve fund, and it has to be done through town vote, and it currently has $8,393 in it.
No, okay.
So we have to redefine that if we want to make it expendable. Is that the correct way to do it?
I don't know if you can do it that way.
I think they're assigned to where they have to be
Yeah.
by the state. I don't think you can say,
I want to make this an expendable trust.
Sure you could.
could you?
I think you could.
I think you have to rewrite, I think you have to do a whole new warrant.
Oh, yeah.
And start
Do a
it.
new warrant and say,
And then you would have to do a warrant to close out the cemetery trust fund,
Oh, yeah.
the capital reserve fund, and allocate those funds into a expendable trust fund, and then you have to appoint who has the right to expend.
right, which we'd have to be careful of.
Right.
Nothing
So,
against those people, but
do you want the town cemetery, the town cemetery trustees having that right, or does that fall on the select board to expend it if the property came available?
and do we need to have the town approval to buy a piece of property?
I believe so. I don't think that the Board of Selectmen have the authority to go out and purchase property willy-nilly without having a town vote.
If you were bequeathed something, you might be able, for the.
There is
selectmen to
guidelines for
accept
us
it.
there are guidelines and procedures in place through the RSAs if somebody donated a piece of property to the town.
Right.
Then we can
Fine.
accept various, through those RSAs. But I'd have to look again, but I think that if the town is gonna buy a piece of property, it has to be done at town meeting.
Yeah, I would agree.
So then there's no need.
So there's no need for doing an expendable trust. It can stay in a capital reserve.
Which puts an issue with,
And if you're gonna hold a special town meeting to buy a piece of property, at that time that you would put forth the warrant to expend that money out of the expendable, or out of the capital reserve account. to
that's
do it.
assuming the judge would let you do that.
If
Hold
you,
a
yeah,
special.
if the judge will let you hold a special town meeting for that.
So if they came across a piece of property they were interested that needed a deposit, a refundable deposit, that might be a way that could go. That somehow we.
Well, even with the school board, if you remember, even with the school, when they were gonna do that piece of property over here in Ossipee, it had to go before the voters.
Mhm.
The school did not have the authority to reserve that piece of property. It had to go through the town vote. It had to go through all the towns. And that, I think it was 50 grand, was not refundable, and they lost that 50 grand. Or whatever that deposit was.
I guess I'd like to talk to the lawyer, if it's okay with you folks, to find out what options we have.
Sure.
And we haven't, I'll have to get the wording carefully on the type of trust we have now. But if we do come across some land, I'm not suggesting that the trustees of the trust fund do that, or the trustees of the cemeteries do that. But let's find out what we have to do if we want to move on some property.
So if you look at the page with the trust funds on it, page 45,
Yes?
up here it says for this one, capital reserve funds and for this one, expendable trust. So that'll tell you what's in each category,
Okay.
okay?
Okay. So insurances. Which insurances are those?
Oh, this is the general liability and whatever, and I don't have anything from LGC yet.
So-
I will have to call them. We can leave it at the.
I would put 3,500 in there just for
Yeah.
tonight's figure. And Mary Lou.
I usually have that before, sometime in December usually.
We belong to no regional associations, but we keep $1 in there just to keep it open. Other government.
So Craig Evans submitted for archival record processing $800 for this year.
And $100 for supplies.
Yep,
For a total of $900.
yep.
Scholastic recognition.
You want to do the 750 again?
Yep.
What is that?
That is the award that we pay out to the recipient of the Scholastic Award. So the highest GPA student in a high school for Brookfield.
That's in addition to what comes from the trust?
No. What happens is we have to have a line item in their expenditures because the check comes out of the general fund.
Okay.
And then we have an income line for $750 that comes from the trust funds. So it's a wash. What happens is Mary Lou pays it out, the trust funds cut her a check for it, and we redeposit the money. But we have to have a line item in order to cut that check.
You understand?
Okay, total other government then would be $1,650 total?
Yep. Do you want to do anything with contingency, or usually you?
Oh, we
wait
usually
until
put
the-
1,000 in there, don't we?
Yeah, sometimes you've waited till the end and it's up to you.
Well, let's just put 1,000 in there just because that's what we normally do. So now we're at $2,650.
Yeah.
What does it cover?
Contingencies. Selectmen's party, no. It's like our little rainy day, you know, if the budget is going to go over, somebody's budget's gonna go over, we have $1,000 contingency to help cover the expenses. It actually has no purpose other than, if you wanna call it a padding, safety net.
Yeah.
A long time ago, there used to be a lot of them built in. And we've whittled most of them out of it. I think that's the only one left, is that contingency fund. Fire, police, and ambulance, have we gotten numbers from them yet?
I have not. I was wondering if Jessica could maybe call, you know, Teresa Williams.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Could you call, so that would affect this line, and then also the one down later for the trash and stuff.
So for the purposes of this point, let's just put in the same number as last year. There may be a slight increase, or if we're lucky, maybe a decrease.
Ed, have you heard anything from over that neck of the woods about their costs of buying a fire engine or any of that stuff?
Forestry, inspections $1. Fire control $500. Forest fire management $750. Dry hydrants $1. Truck maintenance $1,500.
Now, Brad asked for dry hydrants to be 2,500, if I remember looking at that budget correctly.
Dry hydrants, we're going back into the dry hydrant program?
I'm just telling you what the request was.
Do you have?
I didn't have a request from him.
Yeah, we did.
You did?
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it, I'm sorry.
2,500.
Okay.
Okay, well, he's gonna have to come explain that one to me, because we got out of the dry hydrant business, rather than to maintain what we currently had.
Well, that's what it's for.
So we're gonna maintain that?
Well, I mean, maybe thinking too of the fire that happened in town, you know, they drew out of Chickarooni's Pond, I believe.
Well, actually, most of the trucks have floating pumps.
No.
And they can pump right off the top. Part of the problem with dry hydrants is they silt in, and if you don't clean and keep the pond deep enough, they're not worth it. Speaking of which, I have a pond over at my place. If they want to come dredge, they can put a hydrant in.
I wasn't advocating 2,500, I'm just pointing out that was the request.
Mr. Nason?
It might be a result of our fire resource study we had done through the state. Might have been something they recommended.
Okay, but we haven't accepted it. And
Well, no, I'm just
we
saying
haven't
that might
seen
be
it.
where it was generated from.
Okay. Rich is saying that it was, you saw the budget. I didn't see it, so he's asking for 2,500. I'll shoot him an email, have him explain.
Or ask for a copy of the budget, please. Maybe it's not in there anymore.
Okay.
And how many are they fixing?
All right. Another
Fixes
question
all of
mark.
them, or maybe?
So
has to
for
do
now,
one a
just
year?
put $2,500 in there. Mileage 250.
So that leaves you at 5,051.
All right, CEO and building inspections, $5,000, $3,000, $1,250 for expenses, $200 for mileage, $125 for dues and workshop. Independent contractor, we put a $50 bid in. Wow. Any questions about those?
Well,
So I still did this one. On the line items for the actual for 2012,
Mm-hmm.
it needs to be, what do you have in there? Do you have
For which line?
salary CEO? So this needs a correction on yours. The salary CEO and building inspection needs to be 0. For the administrative assistant needs to be 2,086.
this is for actual.
Actual, yeah,
You said 2,086?
2,086. And for expenses, that's Eddie's cell phone, and that needs to be 1,398. So we probably ought to up that, because that's, wait. Was this the year I bought you the new phone? Was this the year I bought you the new phone?
Mm-hmm.
So probably the
1,250 is good.
1,250 will be good.
Could you run down the column again, Mary Lou?
Sure, so for the actual for 2012, the salary CEO and building inspection at this point is 0. The salary for administrative assistant for CEO is $2,086, and the expenses are $1,398. So what we spent so far is the $3,484, but it wasn't, I didn't break it down properly.
So then, the proposed,
Salary for CEO and building inspection is $5,000. For the administrative assistant is $3,000. Expenses $1,250. Mileage $200. Dues and workshop $125. Building inspections for an independent contractor $50.
I think Jessica and all the folks, I think it would be helpful for me if we knew how many hours people are planning to work a month.
Okay. Well, this one's fairly easy.
Oh, this one's very easy.
Typically 16 hours a month.
Yeah. So if someone said to me, how do you get $3,000? I should be able to take 16.
$216 a month? Isn't that what was it?
Yeah, but you work the typically 4 weeks,
Right.
4 hours.
There
So
are
16 hours.
some
Oh, that gets it
that are
close.
5,
Yep.
but yeah.
So it's 52 times 4.
Yep. which is 208.
Times,
Her salary.
Which is what, 14,
13.
13? Oh, I got it mixed up with the guy getting 19. or whatever.
Give my heart.
13 even?
No, 1350.
50. 2808.
okay, so if someone said
Yeah.
to me, where's the 3,000 being spent, I can explain it. That's where I'm coming from.
Would it be helpful if I were to put hours for some of these out in the notes portion for the budget?
I think so. Because yes,
So we went from 2808 proposed to the actual is going to be what you said? 20?
The actual so far is 2,086, but it'll probably will
that's
be the
as of it.
2808.
Okay, gotcha.
I've done that in the past, Rich, put hours for,
So technically, you could change the 3 to 2808 if you wanted to, because I don't do any extra hours, but.
well, that's right.
We're going to have to get to that
It's
as we
enough.
have to pare this thing down.
one of the other discussions that needs to happen prior to this budget being approved is the fact that the CEO and building inspector has not been paid anything this year and really should be paid because he is doing the work and should, you know, he should actually probably almost be paid as the rest of us are, as like a
725?
It's funny. I don't even get paid and I have to take this.
But
You
he
don't
sh-
get paid because you don't submit your hours.
Well, that's right, and we can go around and around, and since this is I can explain, I can justify the 5,000 if you'd like, since this is a regular meeting.
Sure.
The CEO is gonna be putting in a pay increase request and explain it, and I will do that in writing.
Okay, but are you gonna actually put in for the hours this coming year? Or are you
I'm
just
gonna-
gonna, are you just
I'm gonna
gonna?
suggest it's a flat rate, because the issue all along has been, out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of equipment I might be in, when somebody calls, and I have to stop what I'm doing for 5-10 minutes on the phone, or I can't keep, I'm not going to keep a logbook in every single thing that I drive, at every single moment, jot down every phone call to justify, which is how it was requested that I get my pay, to justify my $14 an hour. I'm gonna suggest that it goes to a flat rate of $5,000 a year. And if you look at what that office brings in, what I bring in more than covers what I'm requesting.
Okay, but the concerns is now salaried versus hourly.
Right.
Not
So
salary,
would-
but-
It is, because
It is.
because you're an employee of the town as the CEO and building inspector. If you are paid a flat salary, a flat rate, that is a salary, broken down by a monthly payment. So that would be a salaried employee, and there is a difference in law between a salaried employee and an hourly employee. So that's the line that we would have to look at and make sure we don't cross to
Right,
get in trouble
he would
with
become an
the-
exempt employee for that position.
Right. And there are guidelines to get exempt employees,
There may be one sticking
not
point,
non-exempt employees.
and that would be that I don't know that he can be an independent contractor for the town and also be an exempt employee, and I bet that's where the sticking point has been in the past. And I'm sorry, I just thought of it.
That's all right.
So-
Something's gonna have to get worked out, because as I tried to get out of this position for the headache it is to try to get my pay, and was begged not to, and I continued on, I said I'd try it for a while, and here it is, another whole year has gone by.
And we appreciate that.
Well, I hope so, but nonetheless, the infinite amount of detailed paperwork for the hourly rate, I'm not gonna do.
Yeah, it costs us more just for you to keep track of all the hours than it would be for the hours we
But
actually put in.
understand, you know, because I might be working for the town. I might be doing something at my house. I mean, I get calls on Sundays, I get calls on Saturdays, I get calls at night, I get calls all the time, and I'm not a person that carries a pad or, you know, a smartphone. I carry a dumb phone for a reason, and I'm not jotting all this stuff down. Keeping mileage, I was asked to keep mileage.
So I'll need to call the Department of Labor. I don't know. To me, the question is, can he be an exempt employee for the town as well as an independent contractor? I think that's what it boils down to.
Or can he be a hourly employee without submitting a timesheet? I mean, it.
No, he can't be that. But,
Well, we could divide it backwards, take
yeah,
5,000 a year, divide it up per week, and I'll give you a bill for that many hours.
I understand, that's almost where I'm going. I mean, how else do you back into it so it's, he's submitting
Right.
a charge that we don't challenge because it's a reasonable.
You don't have to deal with this now, but that's the reason for that number.
Okay. You're gonna investigate, Mary Lou?
I will. I'll
Okay.
call the Department of Labor.
That's 96 hours a week.
$96 a week.
96 hours a week.
96 hours a week.
Sure it is. $5,000
Yes,
divided by 52 weeks.
yes,
It's like 10, it's 9 something, 9
Yes.
hours a week.
yes.
I come up with 96.15.
Yes,
385
but what, you're dividing what, $5,000?
by 52 weeks.
So it's
It's $96 a week,
There
sorry.
you go,
Yeah,
it's $100
$96
a week.
$96.15 a week.
There you go.
Now,
Divide that by 14.
I knew there was a step I'd missed. That's 6.86 hours a week.
I guarantee you I do more than that.
I bet you do.
So, and I'm happy, and to me, I'm not trying to wring the towel out for as much as I can get out of the town. There's gotta be a better way to get paid. I'll do half of them hours tomorrow alone.
Why tomorrow?
I got 3 test pits to go view.
And these people pay for this rate to be done.
Like the test pits, they're $50 a pop. They write a check to the town, and then the permits, the timber, part of my job is the timber, the code officer is the timber.
So what, and on the plus side, what did you take in your department here?
Here, he is up.
I guess what I'm wondering is if he should just get whatever the fees are.
So
I think there was a
he,
problem with that.
Did you get
Some other
Yeah.
people in town were
the
doing it.
tally sheet? The tally sheet
Where
that I
is that on
have?
the
It
desk?
should be right on your desk. We calculated all the, I did, permits that he got for the year and everything.
yeah, should be about 3,700 so far this year, but there's
The
also
building
the,
permits alone were $3,900 so far.
That's taken in,
That's taken in.
okay?
It's not counting the gravel taxes, the forestry,
right.
test pits, it doesn't include the test pits. That's building permits alone.
Let's wait and see what Mary Lou finds out. Maybe there's something we can do that doesn't get us in trouble.
Yeah, make it easier. We understand your pain.
Yeah.
I'll call the Department of Labor.
Okay. Are we done with Eddie then? Because we have to
You're
do.
done with CEO and.
You have to do some research on that,
Yes.
just to make sure that we're legally within justification of doing it that way. Don't want to violate
And
it.
I would say that if it's okay, he should be paid the 2,000 this year. Because he is doing the work.
So let's talk about it when you get your answer.
You
All
should
right.
submit a bill for $2,000.
Consider it done.
You what?
Consider it done.
Check him
I don't have paper in my hand yet, so considering it done, considering it done and actually see the bill come across the table for this is another thing.
No, if you put in the hours, you should get some money.
And that's been our,
And you know, I think hopefully I've made it clear in the years past. I'm not trying to nickel and dime the town, I just want some fair compensation. I do more than, if I actually took the time to log all the time that I take these calls and do this stuff,
yeah. No, I understand.
it isn't even $14 an hour.
All right. Emergency management, $1,000.
So I didn't hear from Brad. Did anybody else? Okay.
No, I haven't talked to him about any projects coming up, so at that point I would leave it at 1,000. And I will email him when I email him about the dry hydrants and ask him that question. Highways and streets, I see that the numbers went back up by $2,000.
Well, cut his salary, but I think comes through. Make note.
So what were we 2 years ago? 70 or
173, I think it was. And you know, I think we did very well this year, and I don't wanna compromise on the quality of work and the amount we're getting done.
I don't either.
So actually, in 2011, you were 100, the budget was 180,500.
What constituted the increase from 66 to 70?
Actually, most of it, if you'll see, it came from some of
Snow and ice removal.
the materials, actually. The removal part, I went down 5,000 on my end. I went up 3,000 on the materials.
Okay.
Because salt's been down now, even I signed a contract again this year. I think it was $63 a ton for the salt. Sand went up, but salt went, salt has remained down from our, I think about 3 years ago we were paying
78.
About $78 a ton.
And we thought that was a great deal then.
Well, but I suspect it's gonna start climbing again. And I kept the summer materials the same, because I want to keep adding gravel and stuff. And that, my charges for the summer went up 4,000, so it all averages out and only increases, it's not averages out, but
It's an increase overall of $2,000,
$2,000.
where we cut him almost $5,000 last year.
How much of your charges,
Was it?
Oh, cut the budget, but don't forget, out of the budget was supposed to come 12,000 for Stoneham Road.
and that was my question, out of your summer charges, how much of that went towards the work on Stoneham Road?
17,000.
It's 17,000.
So of the 70,000, 17 was dedicated to that project?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, no, out of the 66,000.
Out of the actual?
Oh, the actual 70,000, right.
Okay.
Okay. So any remarks in regards to the $2,000 increase back into the budget for the roads? Nope, all right. leave it as it's been requested. And for solid waste, leave it at 6782, just for numbers until we get the actual from them. Oh, we're to the give me's. Northern Human Services is requested $358 again.
Yes.
VNA Hospice is requested $2,000, which is down 30.
I'm new here. What's Northern Human Services?
Here.
The weatherization program.
No. That's not even on here anymore. Somehow it got taken off.
The mental health center is requesting level funding this year. The mental health center has provided services to 3 Brookfield residents for 12.31
it's a
hours of
different line.
service.
Okay, mental health.
Mental health.
Let me see. Yeah, mental health services. And we have given to them for years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. VNA Hospice, $2,000, which is down 30. We haven't gotten anything from Wolfboro Meals on Wheels?
I have nothing from them.
All right, leave that at a dollar. I'd put $1 in for now. Because if they don't request it, we'll take it off the budget. I see some new ones on here.
Well, I only listed what we got letters from, so the,
Well, there was a new one I just gave you. Didn't I just give it to you?
Yeah.
Oh, it's right here. Greater Wakefield Resource Center.
oh, I didn't listen.
Yeah, and they're requesting $100. We have not in the past given to them, but I guess now they are having people come in from Brookfield.
Well, people are on the circuit for that stuff. I mean, I've gone to a couple during my campaign and did not go to their place, but I've gone to Ossipee and I've gone over to Wakefield, and there's a regular circuit that people go around. I mean, you get a good meal for it, $2.50. So people could be millionaires and still go around for the $2.50.
And that's one of the reasons why we did not donate to them.
Right, no, them, but either one of them. I mean, it's, you know,
This one says they're charging $2.75.
$2.75.
It went up.
Because the actual cost to prepare a meal is $7. This leaves the center in a deficit. Oh, Liz Olympia is the chairman.
Yeah. I mean, when we first got here, there was a list about that long.
Right.
And we whittled it down to the ones that serve Brookfield the most and the neediest. That's what we were doing, Meals on Wheels for seniors through Wolfboro, because Wolfboro is the one that does the Meals on Wheels for the Brookfield area.
Yes.
Casa for Children, that's a new one I haven't
That's
seen
a new
before.
one. Yes. Yeah, I see their letter.
Can't find the letter, take it out. So that is something that we would have to look at.
Here.
Okay.
CASA and Red Cross.
Oh, dear Ernest. Well, it's got to go. You can send it to Ernie. He can donate. Writing and respectfully inclusion in the town of Brookfield's 2013 budget. CASA, as we know, is a special advocate, a court-appointed special advocate for children and abused and neglected children in the New Hampshire courts. So, in Carroll County, CASA served 45 children during 2011. This number includes children who use Brookfield schools and resources and live with foster parents or extended family members in your community. Well, we don't actually have schools, so I'm not sure where they got those. I don't know how many people from Brookfield they actually helped. They don't break it down like the rest of them do. So that is something that we would need to discuss whether or not that we're going to add them to that list or not.
I'd say no.
I say no.
Take it out.
You got it.
And my favorite, right up there with the Salvation Army, the Red Cross, where 98 cents out of every dollar goes to administrative fees and expenses.
98, oh, that's not what the letter says.
The letter says, it doesn't tell you how much is broken out.
No, they're not going to tell you.
They're not going to tell you that, but it's like 89 cents out of every dollar goes to administrative costs. So Red Cross is asking for $500. I am not for that.
We do know that services were used. I haven't, I've always been against it, but we do know their services were used this year.
Here in Brookfield?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, how much? They're limited to what they spend. I mean, it's not, you know, it's averaged over.
I mean, the Red Cross has its purposes and has its uses, but some of these need to be done privately by private citizens and not by forcing people to donate through taxation. And now, however you break it down, when we give out a check to somebody, to an agency, we're forcing that donation by taxation. So, you guys can let me know. American Red Cross, $500. Yeah or nay? No?
I was going to say 100, but I can go with no.
No? Take it out.
It can be brought right back up again, so.
If it is brought back up on the floor, then that's the town, what town meetings are all about, and that's the great thing about having the town meeting that we have. So now we're back down, because I don't know what the Meals on Wheels are yet, so we're down to
$24.59.
24? 23.59.
You had $100 to the resource center. Do you not want to do that?
Resource Center where?
The Greater
Greater
Wakefield.
Wakefield Resource Center.
No, I didn't say put that in there.
So
I
you
said we
don't
normally
want to-
typically don't do it because it's not necessarily for poverty-stricken people. Anybody can go there, whether they can afford it or not. And that's like giving a huge discount on a meal when somebody doesn't need it.
All right, so take it out.
Take it out.
Sorry.
When are they open?
Well, they're open like 4 days a week. They have a Ossity's open like 4 days a week. Maybe it's 3 they're open in St. Anthony's where they hold it. It's
Friday.
Fridays open.
All right. Direct assistance, administration and direct assistance. This is town welfare. We had $10,000 listed last year. We have utilized 4,900 of that. And I am open to a proposed for next year. I personally believe it should be at 10,000.
I agree.
I agree. Can remember the years we only had 2,000 in that account and we didn't spend it.
Okay. Vendor payments and others. This is the one. This is where I was looking. Tri-County cap. That is the people who do the weatherization and stuff. But this is basically on oil assistance or heating assistance. Is basically what this has done.
Now, a question for that.
Yep.
We also write checks for oil assistance.
Yep. And if Tri-County cap wasn't out there, we'd probably be writing a lot more.
Okay, so I just.
$2,000 more? That's the question, right? Is it better for us to do it ourselves or go through Tri-County?
Well,
Tri-County cap will help residents that don't necessarily meet welfare criteria, but are on that line.
I think it's also who most people in the community think of to go to.
Right. Versus having the town pay 100% of it. And I don't know, you have the letter for that? Because they usually tell you how many residents in Brookfield.
Yep.
And it's usually a lot. And they have other services that they provide to the residents as well. Not just the weatherization and the heating.
We have Lynn here if you want her input on this.
Let's see. 50 residents in Brookfield who were served last year from July 1st, 2011 to June 30th, 2012.
How many is that?
50 residents.
And I think there's a bottom line.
18 had fuel assistance, 15 had electric assistance, and there was one weatherization, which was a $4,000 weatherization, which hopefully will help that person in the coming years for keeping their fuel and electric costs down. The amount requested, and they show you who they've requested from all the counties or from all the towns and how much that they pay. And $4,000 is pretty much average. Conway kicks in the most with 13. Ospey's 12. Wakefield's 12.5.
We only have 700 people. They have.
That's right. But Bartlett is 4,000. Albany is 4,000.
What's Wakefield?
Wakefield's 12.5.
Yeah.
Wolfboro's 5,000.
They have 5 times the population.
Yeah.
So is Wolfboro. They only pay 5,000.
It wasn't linear. When I did the percentages,
Yeah, it's not.
Well, one of the towns like Bartlett may be a richer town. And, you know,
but Wakefield was based upon population, based upon anything.
right.
So we have been giving $4,000 to Tri-County Cap for a while. Probably 4 or 5 years now.
Oh, yeah.
And originally we were giving 2,000. And then the increase in how many people they were serving, they almost doubled in size, so we went up. So is there any questions or concerns with the $4,000? Hearing none, we'll leave it at 4,000. Food Pantry, our Jan Wakefield Food Pantry. We give them $2,000.
They're asking for 2,000.
And they're asking for 2,000.
Could we up it to 2,500? Because they've got the new building and they have paid for the building, but they haven't been able to raise the money for the equipment inside.
But they can't, this money that we give them is not for buildings or equipment.
That's right, it's
It
for
is
the
strictly
people.
for food and people. So if you do 2,500, I mean, 2,500 is still a drop in the bucket for the hungry.
It is.
So they've requested $2,000. I will entertain suggestions.
That's what they asked for. That's what I say the 2,000.
I'm okay.
All right, 2,000.
And you mentioned before that people can give like to the Red Cross individually. I think
Yep.
the food, they should write a nice letter.
If you knew how many people did, there's a lot of people who give their leftover farm produce.
I was, buy eggs, when I had way more than I could sell, I was giving them, at one point, it was about 10 dozen a week. Parks and Recreation, I'm assuming that that'll be about 4217 again?
I think it's actually, I paid him. I think it's actually 4216. I'm gonna have to look at that.
And we left $1 in
We
there
left a
because
dollar
of
in there
the
in
other
case.
fund.
Yes. Look. Paid, and then I'll email.
Oh, this is where you asked for a budget, young lady.
Oh,
Lynn,
This
may I
is
have
part-
a budget?
This is part of that budgeting area. Yep, take 3 minutes. 5 minutes, Bill?
yeah.
All right, we're gonna recess for 5 minutes. I almost blew this, because
Less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, well,
Say, can you go by guy?
what was concerning me is if,
all right, We are back in session.
You know what I didn't, I
We're back from
do
recess.
see that I did not pay the town of Wolfboro for the Parks and Rec so far this year,
Getting nice in here
so
now.
I will need to do that.
Okay. The Park and Rec Committee has put in a budget request of $500 to revitalize and re-energize the Park and Rec Committee.
Is that an expendable trust or just money to spend?
That's just a budget line item for them to expend on advertisements,
Maintenance.
what?
Maintenance too? No?
Maintenance of what?
Yeah.
You have nothing to maintain.
No, oh yeah, that's when it's,
That would be the advertising supplies, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And that's
So
what it
are
was
you-
prior.
Are you adding that to the Parks and Rec budget that's here? So
Yes.
that it will now go to, for 717?
I'd have a separate number. I'd have a separate account, so they're not mixed in.
me too.
Well,
So you'd have to go
I can do it.
4520.1.
what are we doing with the 4217? We're not spending any on it.
No, that still has to be written. She
I
hasn't paid them yet.
didn't pay them yet.
And how much is it
I
gonna be?
usually do.
4216.
You're gonna pay,
16.
that's so Brookfield can participate in the Wolfboro.
Yes.
Yes.
Did they ever tell us how many people participate?
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
they
A ton.
did last year.
A
It
lot.
was-
Make-
It was high.
And adults as well as children.
It makes it worthwhile
Well, it does.
per capita?
Oh, sure. The amount of savings it has for the Brookfield residents,
If it's 100 people, right, it's $42 a person. That we're all paying so that they can get the lower rate.
and they save double that,
Even the kids.
for those 100 people.
How does this differ from your argument on Red Cross? Where it's taxation,
Because it benefits Brookfield residents directly, and not outside residents.
but not all.
All that want to use the program, yes.
I questioned last year would have been cheaper to give the people the
That's what I just get my
$40,
point.
but
That's my point. If 100 people are doing it,
There was a huge movement to get this put through.
and that's okay, as long as it's being used by a lot of people. That's where
It
I'm
is.
coming from. It is a lot. I mean, we got 400 families, some large percentage participate.
Even some adults.
Probably more than
Is
turn
it
out to
too?
vote.
Hard to believe.
I don't know, we had a lot of people turned out to vote.
That's my point, that's my point.
could we get,
We should get an annual report every year, right?
We do.
Marilyn?
We
Okay.
did last
Yeah,
year.
that's what I thought.
Yes.
So
But
make
we haven't
sure,
gotten it this year.
No, I have not gotten it.
I was going to say, include, would we send them their money to put a little?
Maybe I should. Yes, I will.
How many
An
people
update, how many people?
participate? That'd be helpful.
I wanted to wish you a happy Thanksgiving.
You too.
Me too.
Thank you, Lynn.
You're very welcome.
bye.
Good night.
So I'm going to do a separate line item.
And what that also did was opened up certain programs to our residents that were not available to us because they filled up by Tufton Borough and Wolfboro residents first. And now we have, our kids have that access to those fast filling programs as well.
I
Now,
understand.
does the parent pay anything now?
What's that?
Yes, the
Just
parents
okay.
still have to pay.
So what would the difference be?
Oh, I still pay. Oh, incredible.
See,
Camp is double. It's almost double.
If you're non-resident-
If you're non-resident, I couldn't.
Yeah, you're looking at a couple, what, $350?
It's gone up quite a bit, so both of my kids did daycare, yeah, camp this year, and it cost me like $500.
And it would have been over
It
1,000
would
if
have
she
been.
hadn't been part of this program.
now, if it was only one person in town doing it, Jessica's family, I don't think we'd support it. So we have to know how many people are participating to make sure it's a reasonable number.
Yeah.
Well,
Because
I
otherwise it'd
know,
be cheaper to give Jessica.
That's
here,
my
so-
point, that's exactly right.
I know
Give me
Sonrickers do it.
$4,000?
We're
Oh,
gonna
I
get the
have a
number.
lot of
Yeah,
friends
we'll
that
get
do
that.
it.
There's a
Oh,
lot.
tons of
You'd
friends.
be
He was-
surprised.
He was very helpful in supplying the number
Yeah.
last year.
All right. Gaffney Library.
So I have left a message for Beryl Donovan, but I did not hear from her. So I was...
They haven't given us a proposed budget yet?
No.
5,500.
No. It stays the same.
No, 5,500. They didn't give us a
And
budget.
I
Then you default to last
also
year's.
wrote to Frank, it's a default budget. So I also wrote to Frank Frazier as the one who typically puts the flags out for Memorial Day
Yeah.
at the cemeteries. Every 2 or 3 years he needs new flags, but I didn't hear back from Frank yet.
So put $100 in there.
I will, but I think it ran about 150 if he needed new flags.
So you can buy half this year and half next year.
150.
All right,
You're right, because it does go every couple of years. It runs one.
Yeah.
150.
American flags, not Chinese-made American flags.
American made.
Yes.
Of course, it costs better up that to $500. That's right.
The Agricultural Commission has not submitted a budget.
No.
Oh, wait, they have a default budget of $500.
My Heritage Fund, 500. Oh, I didn't put in my budget.
That's out. It's over.
Oh!
Done, over.
Oh, wait.
We passed that one.
So it'll be default.
Oh, that's the Heritage
The
Fund.
fund is the actual warrant article.
That's a warrant. And then your budget,
We'll do
Whoa, whoa,
the
whoa.
same as last year.
what's the $500 expenses that you proposed and you only spent $275 of it?
Yes, but I do have the one more thing for dues coming up.
What dues?
Dues, because we had 2 organizations that we are paying dues to. One is the New Hampshire State, the Preservation Alliance. The other one is the National Trust for whatever that gave us the $5,000 because they were very interested in our project and said they would like to probably give us more money in the
Okay,
future.
so your dues are how much? 150?
150.
Or 200?
150.
So 150 next year.
Yep.
And your miscellaneous expenses,
Was, we'll leave it at 100.
but you spent 225.
I know that was special, wasn't it? I'll have to go look and see what it was.
Workshops and activities,
200, that'll cover because we're
that'll
planning-
cover when she spends her miscellaneous.
We are planning on doing 2 or 3 workshops in the spring.
Okay. So shouldn't that be up over, oh, that is workshops, activities, okay. And now this heritage, total heritage commission expenses.
And agriculture is now 1450. Now wait a minute, did I get the agriculture?
450. So agriculture, and now you're at 950?
No, because there's
Oh, there's
500
500, so
for
1450.
Yep.
Okay. Look, we shaved $50 off their budget. Cool. And
We'll make it up in quantity.
conservation.
This is what I did receive.
I give you
one from
Tom.
Tom.
I was gonna say I just.
So
gave you one.
administration is $1. Dues are $275.
It went up.
Miscellaneous signs $1, and then workshops and activities $225 he has for 502.
Wow, they went up. So 500 total.
502. And then 500 for the conservation trust fund, and that's
A warrant article as well.
yes.
Okay.
Wow! Hey, we did pretty good.
What's the bottom number there?
The bottom number I have currently is 609,840.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
We left some out, though, right? We didn't put in.
What's? Oh, okay. Say that number again.
609,840.
I was gonna say that's a jump from 247, but That was because we didn't have all those items in.
And the current one for proposed for this year is 611,000. So we're pretty close.
And that's barring whatever the town of Wakefield is going to charge for those.
Yes, yes.
So we didn't miss anything else in those, right? We didn't leave any numbers unattended. We put something everywhere.
Yeah, I thought we left something out.
No.
We tried not to.
I
but
thought
we
we,
might have.
no, I thought we put a number.
What was
everywhere.
Eddie's for next year? The same?
Eddie's number was 170.
170.
Okay, this.
No, we have numbers in for all the budgets. Some of them are default because they didn't give us anything.
What went down that we had this under that much? Because we had, some of these people have been up. How many of them are actually down?
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I'm at the top again, so supervisors of the checklist and the elections are obviously down.
How about transfer to the capital reserve?
Those are separate. We'll do those.
Did you put
together.
the
Are they in
selectmen's
your,
salary?
are they in your total?
No.
Mary
That-
Lou,
No, they're not in the code.
They're not. This is without warrants. This total
Yeah.
right here is without warrants.
So you're up here.
Yeah, that'll change. This down here will be closer to
That
that.
stayed the same.
Oh, you got that in there?
Yeah.
So we're measuring the 609 against 501? No, 611.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what's the total for that line?
For the selectmen,
Yeah, for that whole thing in that whole category. Total executive.
executive, 28,001.
Okay,
So there's $200
plus.
300.
from 28,316
Oh, yeah.
to 2,800.
300.
Or is that $28,001?
$28,001.
Oh, I thought you said 100.
Sorry.
300.
So you're going to update this when you get a chance and email it to us.
I will.
Thank you.
Okay. Income.
No,
You wanna
capital
rank it?
outlay. Capital outlay.
Where are you? What?
At the
Line
bottom.
4,900,
Oh, 49.
page 10 of 10.
So this first one is the money that we asked the trust funds for.
To repair our roads.
Yes,
So we know we're gonna have another road project.
yes.
So I would like to cap it at 75,000 again.
Yep.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
This year, we had quite a discussion about Lyford Road costing $100,000 if we're going to repair it. If we're going to,
But it wasn't just Lyford we were gonna repair.
that was the Lyford quote, it was
No, it
$100,000.
was Lyford and part of, Stoneham.
Okay. The bottom line is, we have to budget what we're going to spend. Because this year, we got into this discussion about where we need I thought $100,000 for Lyford, but we only had $75,000 put away where we're going to get the money from. So if we're going to take 75 out, then that's going to cap our road expenditures for this year. Is that what we're saying? Is that how you work that?
Yeah, we're limiting,
Unless we find more money from Eddie's budget.
right.
So this is money we're raising this year,
This is the money we're requesting.
this year.
Yes, so it will be the money that you request in 2013 to be used for road projects.
And then we still have money in a reserve fund.
And then the next line, 4915,
Is how much
is
we
what
put
you're
back in.
putting into the fund for future years.
Yeah, we currently have $88,361.18 in the, we didn't take $90,000 out of the trust funds last year for that. We expended,
See note 1.
24,000 withdraw for a 2010 reevaluation project?
And
No,
the
C
balance-
note 1, 25,000 of withdrawal for 2010 projects. Balance of withdrawal 65,000, oh, I see what they did, for Stoneham projects.
Yes.
So they didn't, that's right, they didn't pay all of us
They
that year
didn't.
before.
They didn't pay us by December 31st.
Right.
And so,
Who's they?
The trustee of the trust
funds.
funds. I remember this.
yes, it was
Oh.
a nightmare.
Yes.
That's when there was a different chairman,
Oh,
we'll just tactfully say. And so I didn't receive the money. I kept saying, I'm not getting the money, I'm not getting the money, I'm not getting the money. But we didn't actually, I booked it, that we had it by the end of December. But we actually didn't receive it until January.
okay.
Yeah, and we only spent 75,000, and we actually came in under budget for that project that
Which
year.
is why, with the new chairman, we're really trying to make sure we
Move
do it by.
I understand now. So I guess my point is, are we gonna try to limit our expenditure on roads to what we bring in? So come June, we say we've got authorization to spend 75, that's what we're gonna spend on roads?
No, I think their intention was to take some out of the
The actual road budget,
road budget.
and augment whatever was needed to finish that project.
So what do we
From
take
road
out of the road
budgets.
budget? Did you say 15?
17,000.
17,000, almost 18.
Right, so we have 18,000 plus the 75.
So that would give you, say if we tag 20,000 out of the regular road budget to help with any other additional costs, that would give you $95,000 to do a road project, a serious road project.
Okay.
And that's
without
still,
tapping the reserve.
that's without touching the reserve. Well, you have to put the $75,000 back in.
Right.
So in one, you're requesting to expend 75,000, and on the other hand, you're requesting to raise $75,000 by taxation to put back in.
So I'm thinking ahead now. We're gonna try to say that we're gonna try to work on some road projects next year, and we're gonna spend how much money? 75, and knowing we're gonna get an extra 20.
Well, I don't have the road projects and the numbers in front
But
of me.
we're just capping the amount of money we're gonna spend, we're not allocating it.
No, we're capping the amount of money that we're gonna pull out of the trust fund
Okay,
at 75,000, and which we will raise 75,000 to put back in, so it's a wash. Anything above and beyond that $75,000 would come out of our normal road budget.
So out of Eddie's budget, that's already budgeted.
I understand that. Is that the way we wanna do it, or do we wanna say we're gonna spend 90, therefore we have to work 90 numbers, or we're gonna assume we're taking 20? I mean, I just don't know.
Well, we can start off with anything that you want to start off with. If you want to do a $100,000 road project and take it and raise it all by taxes, then we can do that. And we just put the numbers in here and see where they fall on that bottom final number, and then we can adjust it from there once we've got more information. Because if Lyford Road, I don't recall Lyford Road being $100,000 by itself. I remember part of Stoneham Road and that section of Lyford Road reaching about $100,000. The two of them together. Not the piece that we did this time, but it was a smaller section of
But
Stoneham.
Lyford ended up being more than we originally thought.
That was the point, that's
It was
right.
Why, it was width of the road, and that was the argument. or
Well,
he wanted it-
we were going to try to narrow it back down to within reason, and then there was a discussion whether or not we should do that.
That's right. That's where we were going around, we didn't have enough money budgeted.
So if we have 20, why can they?
I still don't think Lyford is the one that has the most,
Oh, I didn't
needs
say
the
it
most.
does.
Well, I guess then I would let's ask Eddie for his recommendation and try to budget, either Eddie or the road commission, but we have to figure out what we're gonna budget for and then shoot for that.
Okay, so we're going to leave that one blank for tonight?
You want the road commission, I don't know, do you want the road commission or do you want Eddie's recommendation?
We take both.
Okay.
And then we'll make a decision based on financial needs and abilities of the town.
Then we say we're gonna work on this and this is what the cost is gonna be, and that's, I think, pretty clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, depends on oil
Prices of oil
Yeah.
and workers and all that good stuff. All right, so we're going to leave
The capital outlay.
the capital outlay alone at this point with a question mark. pending road. If I could spell pending.
And who's on the
Road
road
committee.
committee currently?
Let's see, isn't it Bill? You're Rich? No. Brad? Gary Chickaroni still on it?
Brad's been the spokesman, right?
Brad's the chair and road agent.
Page 3.
Great.
Recommendations.
Oh, they're not listed.
No, they're a subcommittee. They're not a normal one.
Yeah,
They're a
we had-
subcommittee of the select board.
But we had, like, Eddie didn't come to a couple of them. And it becomes a problem as you have, I don't know, different thoughts on where to spend the money and everything. And
Right.
you get figures on one thing and all of a sudden it switches, so.
Okay, so we'll have to get with them for those two line items, the road and bridge transfer to capital reserve and the capital outlay. Scholastic Fund is a warrant article for $500. Didn't we do more than, no, we went to $1250 this year, right?
No.
Last year went
Cemetery
25,
trustees.
went to 2,500
Yeah,
last
I
year.
thought we put in 2,500.
Well, you only have $1250 proposed and then $1250 paid.
And I think it was raised on the floor last year.
Well, this would be what,
What is the award they give out? How much?
No, we're talking about the
The cemetery.
cemetery trustee.
trustees.
Oh, okay.
The Scholastic is normally just a $500
Right,
flat
okay, I'm
rate
sorry,
every
I
year.
thought you were on that.
You know what, I put in what I paid out. Let me just look at it.
I think Frank Frazier made the motion last year.
Yeah.
Out of the trustees. Now, he asked for $1,250 from the town cemetery fund.
That was the original warrant article, I think.
Yeah.
No, I thought the original warrant article was, well, I'll tell you what the original warrant
We
article
know what
was.
that is.
It's right here.
$1,250. Oh, that's the prior year.
No, it was $1250. It was warrant article number 12, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $1250 to be added to the capital reserve fund, known as the town cemetery fund.
The prior year, it was raised to the 2,500.
1,200 or 2,500?
In 2010, it was raised to 2,500. But in,
Last year, Frank got shut down on a lot of things that he wanted to do. When he put his,
How do we check what was passed? We gotta go to Virginia on that.
Virginia,
yeah,
I
she's
have
the-
it written in my other book. at
She's the
home,
keeper
too.
of the notes.
Yeah. I paid him the $1,250.
Yeah, and we paid $2,500 in 2011. So it was raised from $1,250 to $2,500 2 years ago. Last year it stayed at $1,250.
I'll check my book at home.
Because we now currently, that gives us $8,393. So add the $1,250 to that, we're at about $9,600.
And we talked to Wolfboro. They're spending $30,000 a year for cemetery work, just to get it prepped and stuff.
I got a lot of dead people though.
Yeah. They're putting a new cemetery in on the Middleton Road, and they're spending thousands of dollars just to get their own land prepped.
Yeah.
Who is?
Wolfboro.
Wolfboro?
Yeah, prepping the land's not gonna be cheap.
Yeah.
So
Once
we're
you
not-
buy it, you gotta prep it.
So we're not getting there.
Well, we're not even close.
So do you want?
But at that point, what we do is we reallocate funds. We may not do some of the other trust funds that year and reallocate those funds to help with that kind of a project.
Yeah, like don't put money into the, I don't know.
Buildings and Maintenance Ground Fund, Office Equipment Fund, that kind of thing. So, Town Cemetery Trust Fund, you're gonna leave it at $12.50?
Yes.
Building Maintenance and Grounds Fund, $5,000.
What is
That's
that?
an expendable trust. That's the one that if we have a major issue with the town building, that we, as a select board, have the ability to withdraw that money out to pay for the repairs or damage to the town buildings to get them back up and open and running.
And the key there is transfer to expendable trust.
No, yeah, it's the that's what we
As
transfer
opposed to
in.
transfer to capital reserve.
Right, capital reserve has to have a town meeting, and it takes the townspeople to vote to expend those funds. Expendable trusts are trust funds that are set up with the power to expend given to a certain entity, like the building and grounds, office equipment, and the property reevaluation are all selectmen authorized to expend.
So then the capital outlay is to spend the money on the roads.
Right, that's
We would spend that.
that we would spend that. That's what we're projecting we're gonna spend. So, office equipment left at 1,000, and the property reevaluation will be 8,000.
Putting into it.
And that's getting ready for our 5th year.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to see, when are we gonna meet again, that we go over the income page at another night?
Next
Like,
week.
Our scheduled meeting is next,
At 2, that's a regular meeting.
yeah, where do you want to go for a
Yeah.
work session? 2 weeks from tonight. Is there a difference between a work session and a meeting? Yes.
Yes, there is. A work session means that we can do work, but we can't vote and take any action.
So why don't we make 2 weeks from tonight, a work session on the budget?
I don't care.
So you're looking at December
My
4th.
budget higher, that's.
A work session.
And then we can set the calendar, then is backing up everything for hearings and all that stuff.
Then you need to make that a regular selectmen's meeting and not a work session.
See, we're getting boxed because the 25th we lose. We canceled the meeting on the 25th.
Yeah,
So if you look at your calendar, we got the 4th. Then
the
we
11th and the
then we-
18th.
The scheduled meeting.
Because we don't meet on the 1st either, so. So the 4th, 11th, and 18th.
Or the
The 18th, we have a hazmat thing I have written here, I don't know. I don't know, I just have it written here.
So we could meet after the hazmat.
Oh.
We'll count on it.
Okay,
We could.
so we're gonna meet on the 4th,
Yep. Workshop.
regular select board meeting.
And then, on the 4th?
Yep, posted as a regular select board
Because
meeting.
when we have our meeting on the 11th, which is our scheduled meeting, we could set all the other dates.
Right, but if we set the 4th as a scheduled selectmen's meeting,
Yes?
any business that comes before the board that night that we need to deal with, we will be able to deal with it.
Okay.
If we just do it as a workshop, we can't deal with it.
Whatever.
We can only work on the budget. And if we only work on the budget, then we only work on the budget.
Okay.
So we're having a meeting on the 4th, the
Yep.
11th?
Yeah,
Oh,
11th
and
is
that's
the.
it, because the.
That's
20
right. And then
Okay.
you have the hazmat on the 18th, or haz mitigation. And we're not meeting the 25th. Ain't happening.
And Bill, you said we had to meet someday after Christmas, or Mary Lou, just to tighten up the books or something? Bill was saying something like that?
Well, somewhere along the line.
So, the way that the year end works is that we have until January 10th
Oh, okay.
for all checks and deposits to be made and posted to the prior year.
Right, and we meet the 8th.
So,
That'd be fine. That works.
Is that cutting it too short? Do we get our money from the trustees of the trust fund, or we do that?
we did,
Okay.
they gave us some.
Yeah, we're not waiting until January 8th to get them this year. Thank you, Tom Jaguar.
Okay.
And we've given them all their money.
I have.
Wow, we're really doing, you're efficient.
So the only thing that's left is we may have to sign checks.
You will have to sign checks on January 8th.
Or, well, we can sign checks if you
At
have
the end of the
them.
year.
I was gonna say, if you have them prepped somewhere between the 27th and the 31st, we could sign them then.
Yes.
Do the other agencies run into the same rules? So in other words, if we sign them on the 8th and they don't get them to the 12th, does that mess up their bookkeeping?
Depends on when their fiscal years are.
Yes, and what they
Some
do.
people's
All
fiscal years
all
run
of
April
New
to
Hampshire
April.
State is through the 10th.
So like the school districts would probably want their money
They will want their money, and I.
before, right, so they
Right.
couldn't wait for the last money for them.
You know what, Bill, I haven't gotten, and it's starting to concern me, is the county.
Good. Maybe they're gonna take a pass and not spend any money this year.
I mean, for this year's money.
For this year's money, and it's usually in excess, always in excess of $100,000 that we just have to come up with on very short notice.
Well, they're gonna have to wait until we have it.
Well,
Can't
they
send us
charge
one.
interest,
Well, if they
big
don't-
deal
If
interest.
they don't bill us for another couple of weeks, we're good, because we'll have money started coming in.
I know that, but just an FYI, gentlemen.
We can always not pay the interest. They can come fight with us. Because they took too long to spend it, that we had to wait till we had the money to get in the account to do
Well,
it.
we get closer, I have a meeting in the 10th, it's a delegation, county delegation meeting, but it's not wait that long. Remember to ask.
Okay, so do you have a bottom line number yet?
Well, you need to
Without
fill
the-
in the 75,000.
Without those?
So without filling in the 75,000, it's 625, comma, 590.
So if you add another 75,000 to it,
You'll be up at 700,000,
yeah.
and you're still.
And for
short
capital
of-
outlays, another 75 on top of that.
So, yeah.
The meeting
So you're
on,
looking at $775,000, $776,000 average if we just stay with the $65,000 or $75,000 in capital outlay.
back up to the selectmen's meeting, what time are they gonna begin? Which is which? Which is the special one? That's gonna be a regular
December 4th is the special one,
special, okay? And that's gonna begin at what time?
7 o'clock.
Okay? Budget,
Unless you guys want to overrule me on that one.
That's fine.
that's fine.
And then our normal meeting is at 6:30 on the 11th, right?
Yep.
No, the 8th, no.
11th.
11th, and you also have one this Tuesday. What's this Tuesday's date?
Mhm.
28? I don't know.
This Tuesday?
Yeah, it's cut next Tuesday.
Oh, next Tuesday, all right.
This coming Tuesday.
I was gonna say, this Tuesday, we're here
Do we
already.
want to, if we have time, do we want to finish the budget then and then cancel the one on the 4th? Can we do that?
We could do that.
Let's see, if we're not long-winded, we could zip right through it.
There you go. I understand.
If we're not
Long-winded? That's not a problem for me.
I understand.
Yeah, but we got out early last time.
Yeah, the same
So
speed.
maybe we can just,
No, on the next budget meeting.
Oh,
we'll put that on and see if we can do it.
Oh, you're talking about the 27th.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we could.
We
could
only
wrap
have
up
to do
the
revenue,
27th, yeah.
one page.
Yeah,
Well, revenues are projected anyway, so they're pretty much even keel. I mean, that's going to take.
but we can review some of this and.
Knock it
This
out.
is a bill.
All right.
Here, two bills. I don't know if I did the second one.
We're trying, are you gonna cancel, are you gonna finish this?
Yes,
I gotta work tomorrow.
me too.
Yeah,
It's not 9
I
o'clock
leave at
yet.
6:30.
I got a lot to do.
I'm gonna work tomorrow too.
It's almost 10 o'clock. It's 9:40. You told me.
See, I told you it's not 9 o'clock yet. Past 9. Okay, so we're gonna save revenues till next week.
And see if we can get it done.
And you can open that one. These two are Brad's. I don't know where they're in my office, in mine.
You know, it's just a, county commission, probably the bill.
Good night, you don't have to stay now, you're done, huh? Go have supper.
I got to have supper.
A little late.
Dessert.
What's
Sum
that?
of 110.
Did I not say? And how much do they want?
Damn, I shouldn't open that.
It's the county.
It's the county tax, that's the county money.
What do they
Please
want?
make note, our mailing address is, they changed their mailing address.
So how much is the total that they want?
$107,825.
And when's it due?
When?
Doesn't say.
$107,000.
When?
When's it due?
When?
30 days.
Before the 17th day of December. Well, that seems
Oh,
later
that's
than they've
good.
usually
That's
given
good.
us.
We'll be able to,
Yes.
Okay.
You need us to initial that, or it doesn't really matter?
I don't think,
I don't think, it doesn't matter whether we initial it or not, it's gotta get paid. So we can initial it, send it over, we'll initial. Why not? Right, keep it all,
you really gonna work
Should
on
I
that?
hand deliver it tomorrow?
no.
No.
tomorrow we won't have a check.
We'll have a check, but
We're gonna hand deliver, you can hand deliver it on the 17th of December,
that'd be good. They'd love
not a day before. I wanna get the interest.
it. Yeah.
Signed, initialed, and approved.
Thank you. I knew it should be here.
This was a short night, I really,
Well, it's good. I think for my first time, I thought it was good.
yeah, it worked very efficiently.
Any other,
We're efficient. I think, you know what?
any other business before this board? Hearing none. Meeting adjourned.